Peace and love, peace and love, peace and love to the Universal Supreme. I want to welcome you to Numbers Matter podcast. This is unit number 11, and I am so excited to bring you this unit tonight because this is something new that I'm doing for Numbers Matter. It's called Dynamic Duos, and this is where I'll be looking at just like iconic duos in the culture, or just duos of anything, and just like comparing duos. So I think this is something cool that I want to start doing. I'm a number two person, as you guys, some of you may know about me. So duos are right up my alley. So I think it's going to be cool, and I'm so excited tonight. On an 11 Universal Day, no better day than to bring you the dynamic duo of Dr. Francis Cress Welsing and Mr. Neely Fuller Jr. May they both rest in peace. And I say that because if you know who they are and who I'm talking about, we know that Neely Fuller Jr. and Francis Cress Welsing are both advocates of justice, of the truth, of freedom, of liberation, of the Black melanated family as a whole. You guys, the Universal Supreme, everybody that supports us on the channel. So it's interesting, and I am interested to bring it to you. I have a lot in store also this week. We actually just finished up the show, the Hip Hop Hour. We had Montana Black on. So make sure you go check that out on BTV. This is BTV and Numerologics right now. So thank you so much if you're new to the channel. Thank you for subscribing. I know there may be some new subscribers here, especially on Numerologics. So thank you so much for following me and subscribing to the channel. And the same goes for all the new subscribers on BTV. I just want to welcome everybody here. And if you have questions, you can put them in the chat and I'm happy to answer them. Or, of course, you can text me on my moon line, which is 302-492-7722. Or if you want to see a dynamic duo broken down, make sure you text me on the moon line. So without further ado, I'm going to get this started. Let me pull these slides over here. Give me 1 second to get the slideshow started, family. So I hope everyone is having a good March. We know we just had a lunar eclipse. Mercury did go in retrograde on Saturday. So hopefully everyone is okay, taking it easy. When we're in retrograde, it's time to like do something that starts with a right? So like renew, refresh, reflect. So just refresh yourself and renew yourself, and you'll be fine. So hold on 1 second. Let me share the screen. There we go. All right. All right, family. Here we go. So, again, respect to the elders, respect to the ancestors. Neely Fuller Jr. and Francis Cress Welsing, both of them have transitioned. Francis Cress Welsing transitioned on January 2nd, 2006, which was a 9 universal year. It was the last 9 universal year. And then Mr. Neely Fuller transitioned February 4th, 2025, this year, which is the next 9 universal year. So they both transitioned in a 9 universal year. So this dynamic duo already is starting that off kind of with a bang, if you will, respectfully, obviously. But they had a lot in common. So I just wanted to make sure that I brought that out, and I'm bringing the family, the astro-numeric family dynamic duos. Okay. So here we go. Let me do that. And let's get started. So these are the dynamic duos. So we're going to be going through these things. And these things, I love acronyms. So this spells out calling, and it's just calling, not with one L, but it's still calling. So we're going to be looking at the cycles of the life path. So that's the formative, productive, and harvest cycles. And we're going to be looking at the and, which I call the astro-numeric description. We're going to be looking at the life path, what they're here to learn. And we're going to be looking at the if, that's the individual frequency, that's your birth number. And we're going to be looking at the name, and that lets us know about your skills, talents, and abilities, which you were born to do. Okay. So this is going to be interesting. And those are going to be the 5 things. And we're going to see how this rounds up at the end. So the first thing that we're looking at are the cycles. So the cycles are upon your life path. So there's 3 cycles. The first cycle goes from age 1 to 28. The second, and that's called your formative cycle, right? So that's like your growth and development cycle. Okay. Your second cycle goes from age 28 to 56. Okay. So that's called like your productive cycle. Those are your productive years. And then your third cycle goes from 56 to harvest. And that's your harvest cycle. That's the time for you to kind of, reap the benefits of your rewards and relax and rejoice in yourself and your family or whatever you are here to live out, right? And have that in harmony. So those are your 3 cycles. So when we look at the cycles between these two, we notice that first of all of the numbers are congenial to each other. They all are in harmony with one another. So for Miss Frances Cress Welsing, her first formative cycle is a number 3. For Mr. Fuller, his is a number 1. So both of these are youthful numbers. They're both physical numbers, masculine numbers. And then number 1 cycle for Mr. Fuller means that he would really, have a poignant childhood that was filled with a lot of new beginnings, a lot of different activities and new experiences. Probably had to step out and be on his own, and make his own decisions and have his own responsibility in that 1 cycle. And then with Dr. Cress Welsing, usually with the 3 cycle is the first cycle. 3 is a very social number, but 3 being that first cycle usually denotes that the person has a greater influence from like a third party than they would a family member per se. And they really have a need to express themselves artistically in some way, like either whether it's through communication, music, or any type of art form. That's what that 3 cycle denotes. So this is very interesting because those cycles kind of coincide with each other. It's the 1 and the 3, so that's pretty close. And then when we get to the second cycle, which is when they met during this cycle, so this will be interesting. So the second cycle for them is the productive cycle. For Frances Cress Welsing, that's a number 9. That means she was born on the ninth date that adds up to the ninth of the month, which we know she was. She was born on March 18th. Um, so for her second cycle, she was a 9. And for Neely Fuller's second cycle, he was a 6. Now, these numbers get along. They're part of the artistic trio, the 3, 6, and the 9. So this is interesting that they have these numbers because what's interesting about Mr. Fuller's number 6, first of all, that's a number of someone that loves and has a great respect for education and teaching and giving advice and counsel. So that's right up his alley. And even in areas of law and teaching, different things like that. So that's right up his alley. But that also denotes that he would attract those that were either born in the month of March, which she was, right? So that's very interesting to me. So he would attract her in that cycle. And then they met when she was 32. He was 38 at the time. So this is very interesting. He was, well into his cycle there, and so was she. So this is very interesting that this is when they met. These cycles coincide with each other. They would attract each other. Um, and then when you move in, obviously, to their harvest cycle, um, Dr. Cress Welsing was a 9 in her harvest cycle, and Mr. Fuller was a 3 in her harvest cycle, and they both lived a nice, pretty long life. 80 years old for Frances Cress Welsing. Obviously, 80 is pretty young now. Like that's a lot more life that she could have lived. And then 95 years old to Neely Fuller, which is I would say is a really full life. And he really did see that number 3, which is like a time to enjoy the fruits of your labor and be sociable, which he did. He was on, he did his show and all that kind of stuff. But to him, he was just still learning. And of course, that's a tagline that he always uses. So salute to both of them and their life cycles. Very poignant and very indicative of the things that they did. And that the things that they left behind as a legacy for us to kind of continue on with. So let's get through down to the next one. So that was cycles. So now we're going to look at their and. So for me, the and is the astro-numeric descriptor. So that's just really, it's your zodiac sign and your numerology. It's your number, your individual frequency. So Dr. Cress Welsing was born on March 18th. She was a Pisces 9 person. So she was a water sign fire number. And that doesn't surprise me that she was a fire number because she was a spitfire and very good with debating. That's a strength of the 9, argumentative, confrontational in that way. And that's interesting that that's a part of the 9's frequency because she named her theory, the Cress color theory of confrontation, the Cress confrontation theory of color. So that's interesting that she used that language and she's a number 9 person. But then her descriptor would be intuitive, analytical, proactive, and passionate. And that is her. That explains her exactly. She's very intuitive. She picked up on the nuances of things. She could look at the symbology of things and really teach the family how to move and what to look for. So, and she was very proactive and passionate about what she did. She loved teaching, and she loved to, really drive the point home. And this is what her life's work was. And it's really sad that I feel like it's kind of, going by the wayside. So I think, here I'm going to really make sure I do everything that I can to make sure her legacy stays alive and what she was teaching us, because the lessons that she was teaching us are super important, guys. And it's something that we really should be continuing on and really learning the things that she was saying and internalizing them and starting to allow them to, really help us to function, and really be able to move in this game that we're, thrust into. So then for her, the rest of her descriptor, so she's the magical mother universe, right? So she's that water sign, that Pisces, um and she's the proactive protector, so that's her Pisces with her fire. So very interesting. Now we move over to Mr. Fuller. He is a Libra 6. These are interesting. So he is an air sign with an earth number. So he's a logical thinking, steadfast pragmatist. Now, does not that describe Mr. Fuller? Those who know Mr. Fuller and who have listened to his podcast and listened to his lectures, read his book. He wrote the code on logic. He wrote everything on that. He's a critical thinker. Like, this is his moniker of who he is and the legacy that he left behind. So these really describe him. I mean, these are his astro-numeric descriptors, and this really describes who he is. Steadfast. Look, he did this his whole life, you guys. Like, he did this from, started doing this when he was in the army, which isn't surprise me, that he was in the service early in his life, because he was a number 1 for his formative cycle. So that doesn't surprise me, because going into the service, that's you stepping out on your own and being responsible for yourself in that way. But yeah, so and then for the rest of his descriptor, he's father spirit of righteous thinking. That's that air. And then he's got manifestor spirit. That earth sign, he's able to manifest his thoughts, manifest the things that he wants. And he did that. He manifested those things physically through his book. Which I don't have the book right here. I should have had it right here. I won't get up to grab it, but you guys should have it. The United Independent Compensatory Code system book, guidebook. So make sure you guys, I'll have a description of it at the end. I'll put a link to all that in the description. So make sure you're continuing to support Neely Fuller and Dr. Cress Welsing. And we need to keep their teachings alive, you guys. So, this is what this is all about here on BEETV and, Numerologics, and just giving honor to those in the culture. Numbers matter. Unit 11, justice. That's the number of justice, the truth of balance. And that's the things that Neely Fuller and Dr. Cress Welsing always spoke about, and always try to instill and have us to understand. So salute again, in honor of these two giants in our culture. And I also want to say, again, her birthday is tomorrow on Tuesday, which is so funny. Tuesday is the day of the 9. So this is, I'm honoring her this whole week. I'm going to be honoring her. I have another whole presentation that's based solely on her numerologics. So we're going to be doing that a little later on in the week. I was going to do it on her birthday tomorrow, but I probably will do that a little bit later in the week, maybe Friday. And then we're also going to be probably doing a Justice on Earth piece on her later on in the week, also to honor the good Queen Mother, now elder, now ancestor, on her birthday, March 18th, which is, so it's not surprising that she's a number 9 and her birthday's on a Tuesday this year. So that's just the energy that it's giving. And it's also a 3 universal day tomorrow, and she's a 3 life path. We didn't get to the life path yet, but she's a 3 life path. And also her personal year factor is a 3. So very interesting. And 3 is one of the strongest numbers throughout her numerology. So, it's very interesting, and we'll get to that next. So let's go ahead forward. Here we go with the life path. I went to it before it happens. So, Dr. Cress Welsing, like I said, she's born March 18th, 1935. That makes her life path number 21-3. That means she's here to be optimistic, social, confident, cheerful, conscientious, creative, articulate, proud, right? And not to be boastful, pessimistic, extravagant, gossipy, superficial, dictatorial, right? Great. We got it. Now, let's look at Mr. Fuller's life path. Born 10-6-1929. His life path is a 19-1. Again, look at the 1 and 3 energy with these two. So do you see the dynamicness of this duo? These two were meant to meet. They were meant to attract each other and do the great work that they did for the culture, guys. This is important stuff. It's important to honor them and really make sure that we edify them. So for Mr. Fuller, he was here to be original, creative, forceful, determined, ambitious, bold, self-confident, and self-controlled. And he was all of those things. He always lived on the top side of his numbers. I've never heard Mr. Fuller be bossy, egotistical, selfish, weak-minded, a bully, or arrogant. I've never heard him be that way. And the same goes for Dr. Cress Welsing. They both have lived on the top side of their destiny. I believe they both fulfilled their life path and fulfilled their destiny through the work that they did and through the legacy that they left behind. And it's something that we can all really, look forward to. So again, on the life path, again, complete harmony for these two. Okay. Complete harmony. And again, look at how so many already we have seen so many 1s and 3s, a lot of youthful numbers running through their numbers. So here we go with the individual frequency. So we know this is the bread and butter. This is your if. This is your vibration, your personal universal code. Also, so for Dr. Cress Welsing, she was a 9 person. So her individual frequency is a 9. Mr. Fuller was born on a 6. That just means he's a 6 person. So his individual frequency is a 6. Now look at their numbers. They are the artistic trio together. They were here to do this stuff, to be universal, to give guidance, give art, creation through writing, speech, activity. And this is what they did. So Dr. Cress Welsing, her personal universal code is the 9, 3, and 6 in that order, meaning that her key days would have been a Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. And then those planets are Mars, Jupiter, and Venus. So Mr. Fuller with the 639 in his order, his key days are Friday, Thursday, Tuesday. They both have their Thursday in the same position at number 3, which is most poignant number for Dr. Cress Welsing, even though she's a 9. But her 3 shows up through her numerology more. And so his planets are the same, but in their order for Venus, Jupiter, and Mars, respectively, for their personal universal codes. So as you can see with these two diagrams, this is in complete harmony with one another. And they really were here. And I also failed to mention on the astro-numeric descriptor that Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, like I said, she's a water sign with a fire number. And Neely Fuller is an air sign with an earth number. So combined, they come together with all 4 elements. So their energy together combines all 4 elements, which we know what that means, guys. That means magic. When all those elements come together, something magical is bound to happen. And everything that they did really was magical. I mean, from the books that they've written, the lectures, to the knowledge and the information that they've shared, the people that they've inspired, including myself. And this is why it's important that we honor them and keep their legacy alive, and their teachings really need to be kept alive also. So I went the wrong way. So last one here in the calling. So we'll see if these dynamic duo, how their names stack up with each other and their calling. So looking at this, guys, is so interesting because in Chaldean, Um, it adds they both are 19-1. They both have the same um frequency in their name in that Chaldean system. And then in the Pythagorean system, Neely Fuller's name adds up to a 18-9, which is Dr. Cress Welsing's birthday. So that's a dynamic duo if I've ever seen one. Like that's their energy is so in sync with each other. It's not even funny. So with her birthday being a 9, what she's here to learn, Neely Fuller has what it takes to teach her that. His natural skills and ability help to elevate her and to help point her research into a more succinct way. She even divulges this through some of her interviews when she talks about how she met him and how his perspective is what kind of brought her whole theory together in a more succinct way. Because then she had the real underlying cause, where prior to that, she was trying to look for all these other different causes, right? So that's really interesting, and it's really cool. And I want to say peace and love to Kill a Fifth Born King, who is in the comments. Peace and love to you, King. Kings up. Thank you for joining and thank you for commenting. And I hope you enjoy this. We're doing dynamic duos, astro-numerology dynamic duos. Let me come up for a minute. We're doing dynamic duos and astro-numerology. So no better way to kick it off on an 11 Universal Day than with Mr. Neely Fuller, and then tomorrow is Dr. Cress Welsing's birthday. So we're kicking it off for them, and making sure that we're honoring them and honoring the legacy and the information, education that they left here for us, which is so important because we're still going through the same things. A lot of us haven't learned these lessons and we don't understand. And the way that they really wanted to portray these lessons were the same way that we look at astronumerology, in the way that it prepares you, right? It gives you a better understanding. Now you have the rules to the game. Now you have your personal universal code, which are your personal keys. So these are the things that we look at, and the things that we want to edify, especially for our ancestors. And I also want to say queens up to Teresa Miller. Peace and love to you, Queen. Thank you so much for joining the live. I love the live. I love coming live with you guys on Numbers Matter. I am looking to go to more of a pre-recorded thing, but I think for the Numbers Matter, I just love the live energy. I love when you guys are here with me because I want it to be an interactive experience and you guys to sharing that with me too. So thank you so much for being here, especially if you're a new subscriber. Thank you. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up and just share it with someone that or someone that likes Dr. Cress Welsing or Neely Fuller. Really just share it with everyone, right? So thank you guys so much. So let's bring the slides back up. All right, so let's get back to the name. So like I said, Neely Fuller's name in Pythagorean is the 18-9, which is Dr. Cress Welsing's birth number. Both of them add up to a 19-1 in Chaldean, so they have so much in common. And then look at Neely Fuller's first name and his second. Look at his whole name. Look at all those master numbers and angel numbers. He's got 3 5s in both systems in his first name. And those 3 5s denote transformation, change. Like, so he was here to make a change. He was here to make a shift in the culture. That is really what he was here to do, and he did it. In my opinion, I think obviously it should be spread more and spread wider. But he did do that and he left that legacy. And also look at all of those 3s in the bottom. He is a master teacher. And that denotes that master teacher, that Christ consciousness energy, that creative, artistic, expressive energy. And he really denoted that. I mean, he would look at how expressive he was. If I had the book right next to me, I could show you how thick the book is. And it's that, and it's also a word guide. So he really prepared us, guys. And that's the whole thing that we got to realize and got to understand that, there's really nothing new under the sun. And I say this a lot because there's not. And especially now, a lot of our elders and ancestors have set the path and laid the foundation on the things that we just need to continue to build on, right? So it's already set, but you do have to renew your history every 25,000 years, right? So you do this by continuing to take those foundations and then build on those foundations. So make sure you guys get the book, The ISIS Papers from Dr. Cress Welsing, and the United Independent Compensatory Code Word Guidebook from Neely Fuller, and keep their legacies alive. So just to finish out with the name, Dr. Cress Welsing also has those master number 33s in her middle name and in her last name, which is her maiden name. I didn't do her Welsing on here. I just did their their major name. But if you catch me later on in the week when we come back with Dr. Cress Welsing's tribute just to her, we did break down her married name Welsing, which is interesting because that gave her a lot of that eight energy. And we know eight is the number of karma and, associated with Saturn and all that kind of stuff, which is the planet of fate, right? The Lord of Karma. And she ended up dying at 80 years old. So it's very interesting, and I'm not going to give too much away about that. You guys have to tune in for the next Numbers Matter episode, which will be later on this week on Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, because this week on BTV, we are honoring the Queen Mother for her birthday. We're honoring her legacy, and we're tapping into her frequency and tapping into her mind and sharing her lessons and sharing what she taught us, because it's super important, family. If we want to advance, and we want to advance as a people and make sure we're doing what we need to do to live on the top side of our lives, just like we want to stay on the top side of our numbers. So just to show you, their numbers are very similar. They both have a lot of ones, threes, and fives in their name. So this is very similar. So let dun dun dun. Wait, I need some music. Hold on. Let me get some music because we're gonna get to this. I think this next slide is a finale slide. Which is so cool, guys. And I hope you guys are enjoying dynamic duos. Let me take this down for a minute. So this is just going to be kind of like it's Numbers Matter podcast, but it's like a little segment that I'm going to be doing from time to time about dynamic duos. And like I said, if you guys want to see a dynamic duo, um, text them to me on the moon line or drop them in the chat. Get them to me, and then I will go ahead and get them broken down for you, especially if there's anything specific you want to know about them. So you're free and welcome to do that. So let me get the bees ready. Let me get the bees ready. Dun dun dun. So here goes the finale slide, guys. So all right, so we got our calling. Okay, so in my opinion, these two are this was their calling. It was their calling to be a dynamic duo. It was their calling to meet each other. It was their fate. It was their legacy. It was a part of their frequency. It was a part of the numbers, their cycles, and what they're supposed to attract in those cycles. So this is very interesting. It's the astro-numeric energy coming together to form all four elements for me. So let me calm down. Let me calm down. Let me start. Okay, I'm gonna start. So the cycles are first. So again, we had the 399 for Francis, and we had the 163 for Neely. That's in complete harmony. We've already gone over that. The and is in complete harmony because they're, like I said, those four elements are coming together to create magic, guys. That's how you create magic. Okay. So that's in complete harmony. So this dynamic duo is off on a great start. Their life path um is in harmony, the three and the one, and we see that three and that one energy again. The individual frequency in harmony, the 9 and the 6, just they're flipped inverse numbers, right? And a lot of that energy throughout their numbers we see. And then the Chaldean, complete harmony. They have the same frequency, same number, even adding up to the 19. And then when we look at the Pythagorean, it's really in harmony. And I say that because of his number adding up to the 9 and she being born on the 9th. But I put neutral because the 9 and the 4, you know, they could live without each other. So that's it. That is the dynamic duo. Let me see. I think that's it. Yeah. All right, guys. So that was dynamic duos. Does anybody have any questions or anything in the comments that you guys want to talk about? Do you have any questions? Does anybody in the comments want me to give them their personal universal code? If you want your personal universal code, don't put your full birthday. Just put your day, your month, and your date in the comments, and I'll give you a quick reading. And I just want to do this, something new that I'm doing on here. I haven't really done that before. But since I do have some people in the audience, if you just want to give it, and we don't have to go too deep, but Go ahead and put your day, the month you were born, and the day you were born in the audience, and I'll be happy to do that. I want to make sure that you guys know everything that we have in store because obviously right now we're simulcasting on BTV and Numerologics. So if you're new to me and you're new to Queen Bee, BTV is Black Education Empowers True Vision. It's basically a TV station where I present my brand of media to the family. And it's positive media. We do cultural reflections where we're uplifting people in the culture, and edifying them and showing them to the people and sharing and resources and networking, entrepreneurs and of the sort. Um, and then we have Hip Hop Hour, which just aired tonight. We had Montana Black out of North Philly on Hip Hop Hour. Very powerful brother out of North Philly. So make sure you check that out. That's only on BTV. And then we also have Justice on Earth, which will be featuring Dr. Cress Welsing on this week for her birthday. And that's really a podcast that was made in honor of Neely Fuller Jr., but he was alive when I made the podcast. And it's really just a testament to us as a culture, as a people, and our in our everlasting quest for justice on planet Earth for us. So that's it. So, oh, let's see. We have some birthdays in the audience. All right. So let's see. Teresa Miller. Thank you so much, Queen. So you're our number 4 person. Wow. I would have never thought that. So you're a Scorpio, right? So you're a water sign with an air number. So, okay. So water sign with the air number. All right. So that means you're intuitive, analytical, and you're a thinker, a logical thinker. Um, your key numbers are the 4, 1, and 9. Okay, that means your best days are going to be Sunday and Tuesday. Okay, in that order. So, any days that add up to the 4 or add up to the 9, those are your days. And if it's on a Sunday or on a Tuesday, even better, right? So there you go. I hope you enjoyed that with a 4 person. You're a very methodical. 4s are different. They're visionary. They're outside the box. They often have secret enemies. They're very methodical thinkers. They like to do things. There's like kind of two sides to 4s. Sometimes they like to be orderly and do things orderly, and they will follow the rules. But if the rules don't make sense to them, they will make their own rules, and that's why they kind of have that spirit of being looked at as like a maverick. So they're like the ones that do all of the upheavals and just change their own rules. They just come in and make their own set of rules. So that's that 4 energy. And I would suspect as a Scorpio 4, you really stand on your ground and make your rules. I bet you are a fierce queen. I can imagine it. Very cool. So Teresa, let me know what you thought of that, and if that resonates with you. That would be great to know. Thank you so much, Queen. Thank you for putting that in the chat. Because it's really, it's me, a testament to me trying to sharpen my skills and hone in on doing some live readings and trying to get myself used to that. So that's why I'm glad the dynamic duo wasn't too long tonight. Um, all right, so let's see if we have anybody else in the audience that wants to give their birthday. Hold on one second. Let me pull up the list. All right, there we go. Where is the comments at? Hold on. All right. Killer 5th, June 8th. All right, Mr. June 8th. That sounds like a Gemini to me. All right, so you are a Gemini. You are a air sign. June 8th, you're an air sign with an earth number. So you are intellectual, logical, um, thinking, steadfast. With that 8, you are a focused pragmatist. You're very focused. You have the power of concentration with your 8 frequency. Your key numbers are going to be the 8, 6, and 5. Your key days are going to be Saturday, Friday, and Wednesday. And you want to always make sure you're staying on the top side of your number 8, because 8 is the number of karma. You do have business savvy. 8 is a legacy number. So I'm sure you have that. Also with that Gemini, you got that Mercury. So I know you're a thinker. You probably like to solve things by thinking about them, probably not too much manual labor. In that way, not in a bad way, but just using your mind to solve problems instead of physical work. And let's see what else did I tell you? Did I miss anything? Did I give you your key days? I think I did. So your numbers are the 8, 6, and 5. That makes your key days the Saturday, the Friday, and Wednesday in that order. So again, any days that add up to an 8, a 6, or a 5, those are going to be more poignant for you. That's your personal universal code. So those 3 numbers, play them, use them when you meditate, do things 8 times. For Teresa, you do things 4 times. So this is the energy and this is the power that astro-numerology can reveal about us. And I don't know either one of you personally. I just got your birthday and kind of read your numbers. So I hope that you guys enjoyed that. I want to thank you for really being live with me and being my guinea pigs tonight. And if you did enjoy that, share this with a friend, have other people tune in and tap in. Because of what I'll start doing when I do the lives, I probably will do some live readings at the end, like I just did, just to kind of get myself more used to it. So thank you so much for joining me tonight, you guys. That's it for Numbers Matter. This has been unit number 11. Again, we did the dynamic duo in honor of Neely Fuller and Cress Welsing. Her birthday is January 8th. Her birthday is March 18th, which is coming up this week. And again, don't forget on BEETV, we're going to be looking at this all week. Make sure you go visit my website at numeralytics.biz. We have some merch on there. And also, if you want to get a reading, I always recommend people start off with their keys charts. Matter of fact, that's the only kind of first thing that I'll do for people is your keys chart, because that's going to be your foundation. And that's going to give you the greatest, the greatest tools necessary for you to show immediate kind of, not quite immediate, but immediate enough results. So want to start with baby steps, right? And we don't want to go too fast. So I want to thank both of you guys for being here, and all of you guys for being here. If you're tuning in this into the rebroadcast, thank you for being here. And again, make sure you tune in to all of the shows that we have in store for you on BEETV. If you're on Numeralytics and you are interested in BEETV and the programs that we have there, please feel free to go subscribe to me on BEETV, because there are some things that would not air on Numeralytics, such as the Hip Hop Hour, which just aired earlier tonight. So, make sure you just tune in with the Queen. And I am, ecstatic. And I also want to give a special shout out to Lloyd Strayhorn. Thank you so much, Lloyd, for everything that you've done. And I'm excited to announce that I have the new sponsorship on his show. So I'm hoping to grow some from that. And I hope to grow with the family that comes over from Live with Lloyd. You're welcome to Numeralytics. Please text me on the moon line. Hit me up and stay in tune with me. So without further ado, I'm going to get out of here. I want to thank everyone for joining. And let me know what dynamic duo you want to see next, because I got plenty in mind. But I want to hear what dynamic duos you guys want to see. So if you're watching a rebroadcast, make sure you drop the dynamic duo down in the comments. Salute kings and queens up. You know what that means. You understand your power and you understand your position. Enough said. Peace and love to the Universal Supreme.
Queens up in your hood because it's essential. Triple the investment, stocks and bonds, build a nest egg. Comfortable life, seed safe at the rest place.